Picture this, your calendar is jam-packed. You have a party or a cookie exchange around every corner, and you are starting to feel stretched thin like a piece of tinsel, not like a star on top of the Christmas tree. If this sounds like you or has in the past, this video is for you. Hey there, my name is Kate Wood. I am a Christian life coach. I am an emotional intelligence coach. I'm a mom of 5, and I love helping women overcome overwhelm and live a more authentic and joyful life. If you could use a little help with the holidays, I want to offer you something that I think you are going to love. It is called Deck the Halls, Not Your Siblings, a joyful guide to a stressless holiday. And it is going to give you lots of new and creative ideas for making this your best holiday yet. So you can go over to katewoodcoaching.com and click on the resources section. So let's hop right into it. There are so many commitments this time of year, right? Holiday commitments, both for your family, for church, maybe for work, kids, concerts, all kinds of things. You may have events coming out of your ears, right? Do you ever get to an event and you're like, why am I here? Why am I here? That's what we want to try to avoid, right? So I'm going to show you a few different ways to do this. First of all, let's think about it. Would you rather be the jolly elf going to 5 events or the Grinch going to 10? 5 is going to be better, right? You can tell those people that have been to too many holiday events. They look like this. And they're just like waiting till they can go home and put on their comfy pants, right? I want you to be the jolly elf, the person who's enjoying themselves, the person who's engaged in conversations. We want a good portion of these events to be like uplifting and energizing, right? And especially if you're kind of an introvert, you really need to take into account how much energy it takes to do these things, because we have a lot of other things going on getting prepared for the holiday. So I would really encourage you to set a limit beforehand. Like even now, I'm filming this at the beginning of November. Now is a great time to do it because now is when you're going to think nice and clearly. So I would encourage you to sit down with your spouse and think like, how many events can we actually handle? Maybe it's per week or total through the holiday season. And then maybe sit down with your kids and anticipate what events are coming up and what ones are most important to them. You guys decide what's most important to you, and then you need to make some decisions, right? But do it when you're not already tired, not already grumpy, and when you're feeling realistic. Sometimes our brains want to be super optimistic. I can go to everything, right? And then our bodies and our emotions, as we start to do it, we're like, I can't do everything. I'm going to fall apart here. So I would encourage you just to choose the very best. You may have to make some tough decisions, but it will be worth it when you're not a puddle on the floor come January, right? We really, really, really want to avoid that if at all possible. And I would encourage you factor in the, fatigue from all the other stuff, extra stuff you're doing, bigger meals, shopping, extra visits, extra travel. Factor all that in, especially like if you have younger kids or kids who get overwhelmed, or if you are the type of person who gets that way, if you're an introvert or if you're a highly sensitive personality, that's part of your life and something you need to factor in, not try to like push against and ignore, okay? And so you may need to say no to a few things. And I know a lot of women don't love to say no, maybe especially hard around the holidays, because you may be saying no to family or a good buddy or something at your church. And we feel like, oh, we shouldn't do that. Well, again, do you want to be the jolly elf or do you want to be the Grinch? So I'm going to give you a few different ways to say no. How does that sound? It's good to have these in your back pocket, especially if you're not used to saying no or not used to saying no to certain people. And maybe you get a little nervous, a little tongue-tied. I know it sounds corny. You might even want to write it down and practice it in the mirror a few times. It just helps the words come out of your mouth if your brain or your emotions start to get like nervous or your heart starts beating faster, you can still get the words out. That's a good thing. So one way you can say it is, that doesn't work for me. Usually short and sweet is a great way to say no. If we say, oh, I'm so sorry, I totally would if blah, 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 blah. That gets confusing and I'll tell you why in a second. If you say that doesn't work for me, or thank you so much for inviting us, that doesn't work for our family this year. Short and sweet, it's pretty clear that I've said no, right? And for those people who are still gonna try, maybe they didn't quite get it, you can just say no. I know women are not used to just saying no and stop talking, but we absolutely can. A lot of times we feel like we have to apologize. If you feel like that is necessary or appropriate, go ahead. Sometimes I think if we say we're sorry, it opens the door for them to negotiate. And if you're not open to negotiation, you might want to leave the I'm sorry out. The Bible talks about letting our yeses be yeses and nos be nos. And if you consider this and decide beforehand, you're going to be in good shape and you'll be able to say yes with confidence or no with confidence, right? If there is kind of some wiggle room, let's say that your friends invite you to a holiday movie night marathon, right? And they're going to watch 3 movies. You could be like, you know what? Thank you so much for inviting me. I can come for one. I can come for the first one and then I'll need to leave after. You can tell them what you can do. That's a great way of doing it. I can come and drop off some cookies for the cookie exchange, but I actually can't stay. Those types of things can be really great. Say what you can do, but again, just be really clear about it. And one way to do that is to practice it, to write it out. I like to see it in front of my eyeballs so that I can get it into my brain so that I don't get nervous and talk too much. When we talk too much, we add stuff that we shouldn't. And again, we may confuse people. So remember, choose the best things this holiday season. Figure out in advance what your boundaries are, how many events you might be able to go to, or how you're going to know if you're getting too busy. Giant meltdowns with your kids or with you or your spouse, that's a great indicator, right? If you're like, oh my gosh, why did I say yes to this? Blah. That could be another indicator. Now, of course, we can work on some mindset stuff and kind of boost the emotion around it. But, if you're running yourself ragged, even mindset shift may not work so great. So we want to make some really smart decisions for getting ahead of things this holiday season and just practice saying no, saying thank you, but no. See, I need to practice it. I can't even get the words out. Thank you, but no. Powerful stuff. It's very clear to the other person. I feel like it's honoring to them by not adding a bunch of other extraneous details. They'll know, hey, it doesn't work for them. Move on with life, right? So I hope this helps you. I hope every event that you go to, you are just holly jolly and having an amazing time, and that you're having enough downtime, that you're having enough margin, that your kids have that as well, so that everyone can be holly jolly and not. If this is helpful for you, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. And also, if you go into the show description, you can register to get my newsletter. It's full of encouragement and great ideas, mindset, emotions, practical stuff. I'm a Midwestern gal, so you're going to get a little bit of that. And it's free for you. So go ahead and join that as well. Take care. I'll see you next time.